So hey anime fans, the series anime is What If Naruto and Femme Vala Were Teammate, so let's start the series. Kurama, you big fuzzball, I swear Kami loves to screw with me, Naruto thinks to himself. Kid, I may also just believe you, in my lots of years. That is fantastic, Kurama says back. And, yes, so that's how it is, a high-pitched friendly voice says in front of him. His eyes refocus on the abomination in the front of him. A 5'3" girl with mild brown hair and pigtails sporting a pink costume that hurts his eyes searching at. He might label her a baby, if no longer for her large chest, and every time she spins she offers him a clear view of his panties. I'm sorry, however, can you repeat that? Slowly he says very lightly as he stares at the admittedly attractive female in the front of him. Too horrific, this is literally the closing element on his mind. She pouts cutely at him. Okay. Perhaps it's far similarly up there than I concept, he silently admits. Are you able to please recognition? You made Pev later, Kurama says annoyed. Yes. This female surely puts nearly all of the women within the elemental countries to disgrace. But it isn't always the time. I am no longer pervy sage, damn it, he says with a grit of his teeth. You are not that clever, are you? She questions with a tilt of her head. He says with a chunk of annoyance even as Kurama begins laughing loudly. Simply waking up and he is already being known as an fool. Properly, lengthy tale short, you fell from the sky, had been severely wounded, and I decided to shop your life by turning you into a devil. Especially, my queen. You are my first piece, I am so excited. The amusing instances we can have, the woman says with a darkish snicker. Her sister receives an ominous feeling and quick appears over her shoulder for her sister. She narrows her eyes and determines that she may additionally have simply imagined it. Regardless, she can be placing more wards to shield her bedroom. Kurama, could I've survived without being grew to become? Naruto asks. I think so. You are too cussed to die, Kurama snorts. Naruto mentally chuckles. You turn me into a devil? I don't feel too unique, he says as he seems down at his naked torso and pats his head looking for horns. Duh. We are quite similar to people except we've wings and magic, she says as her wings come out. They resemble bat wings from back domestic. Naruto feels for his very own and suddenly they pop out of his lower back and he can move them a bit. Well, that is bizarre, Naruto says in a piece of awe. I suggest he can fly with Sage of Six Paths chakra. But wings are cool too, yup. You could fly now too. Quite cool, proper? She says with a grin. Well, thanks I guess. In any case, I owe you one for looking to help me, Naruto says with a smile. He can tell her intentions had been mainly natural in helping him and is privately surprised that a devil will have right intentions, though. It isn't always that large of a surprise as human beings referred to as Kurama a demon, and he becomes simply misunderstood. No problemo. Now there are several things you want to recognize as my first servant, but we can worry about that later, she says speedy as she walks towards the door. Naruto doesn't react visibly. However, mentally he's freaking out. Did she simply inform me I am her devil servant now? Oh, hell no! Naruto mentally screams. Kid, if you willingly be a servant, I will pressure myself out of here and kill you. Nobody gets to use my power for themselves besides you, Kurama says seriously. Naruto sends him a mental photo of him hugging the fox, getting a gag in reaction. Come down, and we will discuss this all over lunch, the lady says with a grin. She closes the door and Naruto we could out a sigh of relief and frustration. Naruto receives up and clothes himself. He decides to now not reflect on consideration on who stripped him and washed him as it's miles higher for his sanity. He walks over to the window and he gasps slightly. Kurama. The sky is red, Naruto thinks. Yes, I see that package. Kurama, what am I going to do now? Naruto thinks to himself as he appears out the window. Well, for starters, break out from the loopy woman that is going to make you her slave. We will worry about the rest later. Yes, you're right. Let's just awareness on the present, Naruto says as he's taking a deep breath. He mentally takes stock of his frame, that is in most cases healed, and his energy ranges are again around 50%. My energy ranges are round Isabu proper now, despite the fact that you took back my different one half. Surviving in that portal Kagaya dispatched you through virtually took it out of me, Kurama says to him. Naruto creates a clone who walks out the door in the direction of the girl, whose name he nonetheless doesn't recognize, and he opens the window, figuring out now not to chance the use of his wings now. He makes use of chakra and walks down the wall fast. The usage of his stealth capabilities he evolved from running from his ANBU. He makes his manner to the forest without being seen. He makes 50 clones who realize to run and create false trails while additionally trying to find out any other records they are able to. Naruto takes to the air, decided to get as far from here as viable. No need for the crazy lady in that horrid outfit to discover him once more. And so that is the fundamental review of the records of devils and what a peerage is. Now, due to the fact that I'm a foreign members of the family Mao, you'll have to do other obligations like assist me deal with my sister, do office work that I don't want to, and if you are lucky help satisfy my wishes. Seraphol says with a contented smile. Naruto take a moment to digest the records and stands up going through her. Properly Seraphol Leviathan. This all sounds very thrilling, however I'm going to have to decline, thanks for the assist. Goodbye, he says with a wave earlier than disappearing in a pant of smoke. In which did my hot queen go? She says frantically while searching the room. She then expands her senses and cannot sense his presence everywhere. Her smile quickly fades and she receives an irritated tick above her eyebrow. Naruto. She yells and ice fast covers the whole room. All of the maids and people throughout the residence can immediately experience a distinction in temperature. All of them quick make themselves scarce. No longer trying to be near an angry Seraphol. XXXX properly shit. I have already got enemies, Naruto says with a sigh. Genuinely, this international is as messed up because the shinobi and is probably even extra so. Get clone recollections again? Kurama questions. Yup, and apparently, there are different factions named fallen angels and angels, who devils have fought a prime struggle against, who kill devils and have guns of mild which are extraordinarily risky. You then have the old Mao faction of devils that most effective like natural blood devils that might try and kill me, and due to the fact I ran far from my master all devils are supposed to kill me on sight. Naruto thinks with an eye-fixed roll. He is not terribly worried due to the fact he doubts anything can be harder than combating Obito, then Madara, then Kagaya. Wow Kit, you basically are a missing knee now, sure as hell higher than a slave, definitely must get greater records, Naruto thinks with a sigh. Most effective good matters have popped out of this to date. One is that he receives magic and a much sturdier body, and two is that he receives to live for hundreds of years. Orochimaru he goes to be the only to analyze all the jutsus. How can you study all the jutsus whilst you are stuck in an change dimension? Dumbass Kurama responds dryly. A fuzzbutt? Don't you recall they stored me out of the warfare to analyze more? And that I stored the whole lot the Kage gave me in a seal on my arm? Naruto questions smugly. You're nevertheless in fool. Going to recover my strength, Kurama says before he falls asleep. That damned fox. I'll have to kick his ass once more for that, Naruto grumbles. He then begins having a pipe dream of all of the jutsu and funky stuff he can learn and the way he is going to shove it into Sasuke's face. His temper at once sours when he thinks of Sasuke and the relaxation of the people lower back home. He knows Sasuke can forestall the infinite Sayukami, so as a minimum there's that. He did convey them peace, or at least he hopes he did, without the Rinna Sharingan, but getting returned is impossible. Rattling Kagaya, that spiteful complaint, he gets some other clone's reminiscences approximately locating a city. However, he comes to a decision to keep going as far away as feasible. The city would be the first vicinity absolutely everyone could look, and the number one unpredictable knucklehead ninja does not do the obvious. She is walking with all her would possibly via a forest, not minding the explosions occurring near her, as she is simplest looking to reach protection. She seems up on the dark sky and sees a mild spear heading right at her. She jumps out of the way on the ultimate second, barely fending off being skewered. She rolls on the floor and at once choices herself up, now not heeding her tired muscle tissues calling for rest. Ho, have a look at that Zadlas. It seems we have pretty the spry little devil this night, one of the two fallen angels calls out. It appears you are right, Tabiel. There's nothing better than a devil hunt with a devil that does not surrender. Makes the finishing so much sweeter, Zadlas calls out with a sneer. Disgrace. If she was simplest a couple years older, then perhaps we should have some a laugh along with her earlier than we kill her, Tabiel says with a sigh. He can tell that the silver-haired woman beneath can be pretty the beauty even amongst devils and fallen angels. A shudder runs via the lady whilst she hears him say that. She will be able to most effective be thankful that they aren't pedophile fallen angels. She glances returned at the six-winged and four-winged angel and curses. They're casually floating behind her with light spears in their fingers, just laughing and enjoying looking her. In the event that they had been two-winged, maybe she might have a shot. However, now not towards such beings while she has been non-prevent strolling for 2 days, Zadlas, we must cease this quickly as I am getting bored. Besides, I'm loss of life to test out that new brothel on the town, Tabeel says as he keeps his eyes on the female beneath. The exhilaration of the chase has dulled after 20 minutes, and now he just desires to get laid. I went there last night time with a pair others. A pair of those bitches certainly realized their way round a dick. Ask for Roxy, Zadlas says with a perverted grin as he remembers last night time. Truly worth every cent. As though I want any of your sloppy seconds, Zadlas. I might alternatively not seize a disorder, Tabeel says with a laugh, and Zadlas glares at him. He throws a spear down beneath at the female, who dodges, and he weaked out an irritated TSK. Shut it, Tabby. Besides, it would be greater like sloppy 1000s with one of these women, Zadlas says as he throws his spears. Certainly one of them nicks the girl, and she or he lets out a cry of pain as she falls down. She has an uncongenial gash on her arm as the two fallen fly right down to the ground near her. She tries to stand up. However, her legs deliver out on her, so all she will do is sit down at the floor, evident at those two asshole fallen. Well, for such an entertaining night we can come up with a short demise. And my call is Tabeel, damn it! The six-winged angel yells, getting a laugh from his pal. He creates a light spear, plenty larger than any of those he has thrown tonight, and she knows she is dead. Properly. This has been a shitty lifestyles. Most effective. Wish I got to kill my father, she thinks to herself as she closes her eyes. She waits for her annihilation, but she hears an explosion close by rather. She opens her eyes and sees that she is now within the palms of a young blonde with extremely blue eyes and whisker marks. Hey there, Oju-chan, you don't ought to worry anymore. I may not allow everyone damage you, he says, and gives her a vibrant smile. Tears pour out of her eyes and the blonde faces the two fallen. Please provide an explanation for why you miserable crows were attacking and approximately to kill a baby, Naruto says along with his eyes turning cold. Both fallen are right away on shield as they by no means sensed him. What's it to you, Satan scum? We need no motive to wipe out a devil, Zadlas sneers. Properly, if that's the case, then you definitely may not mind if I retaliate, Naruto says with a smile that does not attain his eyes. He throws a kunai and flips via numerous hand symptoms. Ninja art. Shuriken shadow clone jutsu, he yells out, making the one kunai grow to be loads, their eyes widening. They near their wings around themselves and harden them with their mana, having the kunai leap off harmlessly, retracting his wings. Tabeel yells, this is pathetic, you low magnificent scum. Earlier than seeing several Narutos going for walks at him with blue orbs that promised pain in his hand, both fallen take to the sky, throwing mild spear after mild spear, however cannot appear to hit an unmarried one. Naruto jumps up holding the sphere outstretched closer to the four-winged angel. Zadlas throws a mild spear, thinking he has gotten clean hit, but the blue orb grinds away the mild spear to not anything, leaving him greatly surprised for a moment, making him unable to keep away from the attack. Rasengan. Naruto yells out as the blue ball grinds away at Zadla's belly and tears through his again. Naruto pulls out his hand quickly, getting hit by a light spear from the side with the aid of Tabeel, who is quite pissed approximately his pal's death. Alas for Tabeel, the Naruto that he hit become most effective, a clone that disappears in a pant of smoke. Tabeel, with anger in his eyes, summons masses of light spears behind him, decided to kill this devil. With a flick of his wrist he sends them crashing down at Naruto, and some on the younger Satan girl. Sure that this is the give up for them, Naruto but lightly flips via forehand seals, slams his hand at the ground and says earth launch. Dust wall and a large 20-foot excessive by using 4 feet thick wall seams in front of them. Naruto then hops up on the wall and throws any other kunai on the fallen angel, who plans to bat it aside without difficulty. Right earlier than it hit, but it transforms into Naruto, who's grinning, and he releases a devastating punch right inside the guy's face. Before he falls, however, he additionally attaches paper bombs onto the fallen. What the hell are those? Tabeel asks, eyeing the paper warily, whilst he sees Naruto have a grin on his face and his hand in another abnormal function. He at once has a premonition to dispose of the paper. Too late. Katsu, Naruto says, and Tabeel is engulfed in an explosion. He falls out of the sky and lands on the ground, his frame burnt and absolutely in quite a few pain. Naruto seems proper in front of him, amazed that he's still alive. Wow, to tank B-stage paper bombs from point blank and survive, need to be the supernatural frame, Naruto muses to himself as Tabeel attempts to drag himself off the ground. Fuck, you son of a whinge, Tabeel spits out, and all of a surprising, he can't breathe and he sees countless pics of his loss of life. He desperately grasps at his throat together with his arms, however finds nothing blocking off his throat. Searching up, he sees anger in the cold orbs of the blonde Satan that made his nighttime hell. No one insults my Ka-chan, Raisin-gan, he yells as he drives it into the fallen's head, blood spattering everywhere. Naruto looks up and nods to himself. His mother's honor is protected. He glances again at the younger woman he stored, together with her eyes searching at him with wariness, wish, and acceptance of her fate, something it is able to be. He gives her a smooth smile as he walks over to her, his clones from the war cleansing up any evidence it occurred the first rate they could. See? I told you that I would defend you, Naruto says with a grin. The lady nods her head barely. Why do not we introduce ourselves? My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I am 17 years antique and I like ramen, my treasured people, schooling, touring, and ramen again. I hate the 3 minutes it takes to make on-the-spot ramen. Assholes who pick out on kids, rapists, and loneliness. My dream? Properly, I do not clearly realize what my dream is anymore, he says a touch tiredly at the end. He looks at her optimistically and he or she realizes that she is meant to do the equal issue. Hi there, my call is Vala El Lucifer, she says and searches his face for any signs of a response. Quite, she discovered a peace. But no hatred, just interest. I'm 12 years vintage and I really like my Ka-chan and Albion. I hate my father and grandfather. My dream as a minimum right now is to discover somewhere safe, she mumbles out as she hasn't sincerely given it any thought. Naruto grimaces as he can see lots of himself in this 12 to 12 months antique woman, simplest round 4'4" with light silver hair and hazel eyes, with signs and symptoms clear to him of physical and emotional abuse. He grips his fist and decides that he will do something for this female. Properly, Vala-chan. How approximately you spend the night camping with me and you can get an awesome nighttime sleep, Naruto gives her. She appears at him with a touch of suspicion, as to this point, all the men in her existence have harmed her. But she really doesn't have a preference. Reluctantly, she nods her head, making his smile get a tiny bit wider. Hop on my lower back and we will find a few vicinity safe for the night, or as a minimum someplace far away from here, Naruto says as he bends down. She wraps her palms round his neck and legs round his waist, and he holds on to her legs. Hold on, he says before he begins dashing through the timber at an extremely rapid pace, drawing a squeal of fear from Vala. He laughs as she tightens her grip and maintains navigating through the woodland without difficulty. Vala opens her eyes and sees the whole thing around her in a blur. She idly wonders how the older blonde can see where he is going. He has trained his eyes for such speeds. A deep voice rumbles in her head. What do you think I have to do, Albion? Vala asks, desperate for a chunk of recommendation. The beyond few days have taken a toll on her, and she might be lifeless without Albion. I say don't trust him completely. But he doesn't seem to have bad intentions. At the very least, he is strong enough to kill those two Fallens easily and didn't react negatively to your name. I'd say stick with him for now, Albion says. Should I inform him approximately you? Don't, he might want to use you. Vala is brought out of her musings while Naruto stops jogging and finds herself nevertheless within the wooded area. Naruto bends down and he or she jumps off him, wobbling a chunk as she is extremely tired. Naruto creates 4 clones, whose speedy get to painting setting up a perimeter and camp. You may take the napping bag. I am first class with the ground, Naruto tells her as she eyes the snoozing bag with longing. She glances again up him with a bit of suspicion. However, the deal is just too appropriate to skip up. She quick climbs in and within a minute is already asleep. And to think I used to be going to offer you dinner, Naruto says as he unseals a bowl of ramen that is nonetheless warm. Guy, am I happy? Ero-sennin taught me the way to seal hot foods in order that they stay warm, he says earlier. Then he dives into the meals of the gods and mouse. XXXX. Vala wakes up tomorrow fantastic, disoriented, and pressured. How did I am getting right here? She asks herself before all her memories come dashing return to her. Widening her eyes, she seems round and down at herself. Relax. He did nothing to you last night, Albion says, making her breathe a sigh of comfort. She is probably young. However, years of abuse makes your head bounce to nasty thoughts. She seems outdoor and sees her savior, Naruto, eating a bowl of some kind of scrumptious-smelling food, and the sun is up excessive in the sky. Naruto's eyes brighten when he sees her, and he waves her over enthusiastically. She swiftly walks over to him, hoping that he will proportion at the least a tiny portion of his meals with her. She has gotten so hungry that her stomach might not even growl anymore. Suitable afternoon, Vala-chan. How are you feeling? Naruto asks. I'm best, she states warily, nevertheless searching for his attitude in all of this. Her eyes drop down to his meal, something he recognizes. He opens a scroll and channels a bit of chakra to the seal, making every other bowl appear in a gasp of smoke. Vala's eyes widen as she has in no way visible the sort of thing before, chairs and such, sure, but no longer meals. Right, here you pass, he says as he passes her the whole bowl at the side of a couple of chopsticks. She picks up the wooden sticks, now not precisely sure the way to use them. She watches Naruto consume with them and attempts to copy him. Naruto silently chuckles to himself as he watches the woman attempt to eat. Nonetheless, he does not want to harm her satisfaction, so he says not anything. They consume the relaxation in their meal in silence, both sitting on a log, each thinking of the opposite. Naruto is saddened by way of how much her early life resembles his personal. As a minimum inside the body mannerisms, she as a minimum has a mom. However, it would not seem as though her mom ought to definitely help her. Vali, however, is becoming increasingly more puzzled via the blonde in the front of her. Why would a 17-year vintage reincarnated Satan assist her? Not being able to stand it anymore, she asks bluntly, why are you supporting me? Naruto, a touch caught off protect with the aid of the question, increases an eyebrow and asks, is it incorrect of me to help a little woman after I see her in trouble? Vala frowns as she didn't get the answer she wanted. Maybe he simply believes that it was the right thing to do, Albion says. Vala shakes her head as she hasn't met everybody who might do that earlier than from the confined amount she has. I do not believe you, Vala says, and Naruto frowns, properly. I bet I should persuade you otherwise. Don't worry, I'm stubborn, Naruto says with a smile. She just stares at him earlier than searching away. Naruto rolls his eyes on the little girl in front of him. I wager she has experienced betrayal earlier than he thinks to himself. Well, Vala-chan, I'm going to head teach. Do you need to come with me? Naruto asks. Vali is hesitant at first, but Albion fast encourages her to go along with him. Albion, why did you need me to go? Vala asks as she rides on Naruto's lower back another time. Because hatchling, this is a prime opportunity to see how strong he is, Albion says to her. He admits he is curious, as well as this guy looks as if he has to continuously suppress his internal air of secrecy. Naruto hops down from a tree and gains a mischievous smile on his face. He desires to awe the little female with his powers. He hasn't been educated the past weeks to no longer show off his new talents. Besides, this one took him 2 weeks to get down, even with loads of clones, and he nonetheless cannot do it close to the extent of Madara. Curse that rattling Uchiha. Need to see something cool? Naruto asks the female. She timidly nods her head and Naruto starts off evolved flipping via hand signs, any other skill he has been operating on vigorously, fire style. Wonderful fire annihilation, he shouts, and he releases a literal sea of hearth. All of the bushes in the front of him for 40 yards immediately flip to ash, and the subsequent 10 yards in a while are bathed in a sea of flames. Vala's jaw is slightly putting open as she couldn't hope to copy that. Albion, however, scoffs as that kind of hearth would have happened by using him sneezing. Nevertheless, for a non-dragon and 17-year vintage, he'll admit it isn't awful, quite cool, proper? Nevertheless, it's not nearly to the level it ought to be. I cannot do the assault justice quite, but Naruto tells her with a smile. Vala shuts her jaw and nods begrudgingly. Because it changed into cool to her, she hasn't been allowed to exercise her magic or work with Albion because of her father. Naruto then holds his fingers in a familiar hand signal and says Tajukage Bunshin, no jutsu. Suddenly the entire region surrounding them is included in smoke, and whilst it clears, even Albion is inspired. Vala is speechless. There are hundreds of Naruto clones surrounding them. Naruto winks at Vali earlier than dealing with his clones. Very well. First placed out the fireplace, then get to practicing. 200 of you operating on Kenjutsu. 200 working on the primary level of fire manipulation. 200 operating on Fuinjutsu. 200 going via the Goken katas. And ultimately 200 operating on rattling chakra control. I am getting to do the fun stuff like physical training and figuring out magic, Naruto says with a cheer, causing many besides the chakra manipulate clones to chortle. Naruto pours a few greater chakra into his weights on his arms and legs, inflicting them to immediately get heavier. Uzumaki-san, what sort of magic is that? Vala asks as her curiosity overtakes her hesitance. Albion eagerly listens on as properly. It is now not magic, but as an alternative chakra, you see. I can split my chakra in half of and produce one copy of me. I will break up it into thirds and feature copies of me. This time I spilt at 1000 instances and the fine component is the whole thing they research I do too. So, all those clones doing the one's drills is like me doing the one's drills. The only matters they cannot do to help me is physical schooling and magic, as they do not have magic of their bodies, and a clone weightlifting may not construct my muscle tissues, Naruto explains with a proud smile. He is in reality the unmatched grasp at this jutsu, so it simplest makes sense if he knows all about it. It is no longer a door. It took him 3 years to figure out a way to train with it. So, you get 1001 days of schooling out of one day? Vala questions. At Naruto's nod, Albion starts off evolve laughing like mad. That may be the most OP technique I have ever heard of. He says giggling. He does not forget his strategies OP in any respect. They are all badass and definitely regular. Now you may wait here, Vala-chan. I'm going to start my education, he says as he begins jogging. Vala watches him run off and then starts strolling many of the clones, interested by what they may be doing, of path. She is keeping aware of her surroundings in case he activates her, though she is aware of she wouldn't be capable of do something to him. The first group she appears at is the chakra-managed group, who are truly using leaves, sticking them in specific places on their bodies and making them stick, along with spinning leaves on their finger suggestions at the same time as strolling up trees. Each of the clones have a frown on their faces as they watch the others, probable due to the fact they deem their exercise the boring one. She, while wondering that the walking up the trees is thrilling, she does not actually need to watch them, just take a seat there. She walks over to every other institution who each have out scrolls and ink, their portrait symbols at the scrolls very fast and exactly. She thinks the symbols are beautiful, and once more this blonde surprises her. Ask one of them what it's for, Albion says to her. Mustering up her braveness, she walks up to one of the clones. Uzumaki-san, what's this for? She asks timidly, hoping to no longer be rebuked for interrupting like her father and grandfather would. None of this, Uzumaki-san or honorifics, just call me Naruto. Vala-chan, this is Fuinjutsu, which is the main of sealing. This type of jutsu is an unprecedented one. However, with it you can pretty do something, from sealing away elements to creating a pocket size. It is a without a doubt neat trump card to have towards opponents, the clone says as he maintains to paint at the scroll. Vala jumps as an explosion engulfs one of the clones, at the same time as the others don't appearance phased in any respect. In case you appear to make a mild mistake and channel chakra into the seal, it usually blows up to your face. This is why Boss most effective uses clones to practice Fuinjutsu, the clone says, unfazed through his brother's demise. Ah, thanks Naruto-san, Vala says, getting a slight glare. I mean Naruto. The clone gives her a grin. Vali, in the meantime, is slowly backing far from him, not looking to die an early dying. Whilst it is cool, it looks like it's a touch too dangerous for her there. Humph. That is such an unmanly way to fight, Albion says as she walks away. In reality, he's nonetheless bitter, approximately being sealed away by means of the biblical God, although he does begrudgingly admit its effectiveness. Vala then wanders over to the corporations doing extra physical sports. Her eyes widen at the size of the sword, as it smiles without problems the peak of a completely grown guy, and the manner Naruto can casually swing it round with one hand. She sees a few going via motions and others sparring with each other. He definitely isn't a master swordsman, but he isn't terrible either, Albion remarks to provide Vala some context to what she is seeing. Glancing over to the barehanded Naruto clones, she sees them doing something similar to the sword-wielding ones. She cannot comply with maximum of the moves within the spars, alas, as they had been shifting at this type of excessive speed. In reality, they have been going slower to make sure they did not by accident pop one another. She ultimately travels over to the last group of clones, and sees each of them have a leaf in their fingers and are looking at it intently. She walks up to one, a bit greater confident that she may not be harmed for interrupting, and asks, Naruto, what are you doing? I'm looking to begin a fireplace inside the center of this leaf, and then control the hearth from burning the relaxation of the leaf, and then having it sluggish burn for a minute, the clone says as he looks at Vala. That is without a doubt difficult. We have been at this for the beyond days now, and no one has been capable of even get the hearth commenced within the center yet. It helps make our fire jutsu greater badass with much less strength. Vala is barely curious on how this type of element could make that occur, however makes a decision to now not trouble the clone anymore. She does not need to overstay her welcome. She is going over to a tree and sits down against it, figuring out to observe the Kenjutsu and Goken corporations as they may be the maximum interesting. She hears every other explosion and slightly chuckles. The authentic Naruto comes going for walks beyond her, giving her a cunning smile and a wave. Earlier than continuing his run, she relaxes slightly, and even as she continues to be careful, plainly meeting Naruto may additionally come to be a very good component. She will resign herself to be in his care for now. Simplest time will tell if that is a suitable choice. Azazel is at his table slaving over office work that he has been disposing of for the past couple weeks. It wasn't his fault that he were given stuck up in his sacred gear studies or at several bars picking up ladies and the peculiar brothel. No, they tempted him into abandoning his obligations, and he is sticking to that. His vice-governor Widespread, Shemhazai, dragged him right here and advised him to do all of it beneath pain of demise. Pointless to say, the sword of chance lit a proverbial fire beneath his ass, and he has been in here for the past 8 hours and he hasn't made a dent in it. Definitely, this is his punishment from having intercourse with a human and falling, however significantly, how turned into he purported to face up to those Ape. Griping about how unfair the world is, he maximum usually did not scream like a bit lady when a voice said yo proper in the front of him. Nope. He's going to deny that to his death day. He jumps up, his wings spreading from his again, messing up his piles of office work, and light spears form in his palms as he seems on the younger blonde, whisker-marked boy in his workplace. The trouble for Azazel was, he did not sense him are available in no way. He might have been assassinated and might have never recognized till it become too late. Who are you? He says severely, flaring his strength, but it doesn't affect the person at all. He flares it even extra, making the room begin to shake, but nonetheless the child appears totally unaffected. Definitely, he is pretty strong and professional. Suddenly, the entire room goes absolutely darkish and Azazel has all his senses heightened to the acute. Then, a shiny light specializes in the spot in front of him and sees the blonde in an odd pose. He isn't always sure what to make of it. However, it sincerely does not appear like a preventing stance. All through the country's ladies talk of me in hushed whispers and guys simmer in jealousy, protecting the record in stamina, with superior strategies in the sheets and on the streets, hailing from the village hidden within the leaves, disciple of the great pervert and conqueror of pain, the sage of NT, Mayaboku and best friend of toads. Uzumaki Naruto Databeo. Naruto finishes his dance with a crazy grin and fireworks by some means go off behind him. Azazel is standing there bowled over, along with his jaw on the ground. Someday at some point of the creation, he dispersed his light spears and dropped his aura down to ordinary stages. Clearly this kid intended him no harm. He bursts out guffawing, because the whole scenario is too much for him. Naruto simply watches as what he thinks is the chief of the fallen angels is busting a gut with some tears leaking from his eyes. That, ha ha ha, that has to be the ha ha ha. The pleasant creation ever, Azazel says as he gets his laughter below manipulate. Thank you. I've been running on it for moments like this, Naruto says even as rubbing the return of his head. That supplement approached plenty to him as it's far a manner to honor his overdue godfather. So Uzumaki-san, what can I do for you? He says as he gives him a chair. Azazel groans as he sees all of the office work on the floor, and he is going to need to arrange all of it again. Nah, he's going to just get Penemu or some grunt to do it. Please, simply Naruto says as he sits down effectively. I used to be hoping you could help me out. You're Azazel-san, correct? Yes, I am, and simply Azazel, he says as he rubs a hand via his golden-tipped hair. All of a sudden, his door bursts open and numerous fallen pour in with mild spears in their hands with slightly frantic expressions on their faces. Once, they see Azazel excellent, sitting behind his table. They relax barely. Azazel, who's your visitor? A stern-looking center-aged man who's almost as buff as A and B with a beard says, Barakil, Penemu, and Shemhazai, this guy is Uzumaki Naruto. He all of a sudden regarded in my workplace without me noticing him, after which added himself. It changed into surely one of the funniest matters I've ever seen, Azazel says with a hearty snicker. The others are evident barely on the blonde, but, as he's somehow skillful sufficient to get into the heart of Grigori without being noticed, relax anybody. I imply no one damage. I really have come to invite Azazel up, Naruto says with a watch smile. I suppose we are able to live right here too. In case you don't thought, says the 25-year-old with silver hair and crimson eyes, wearing one of the maximum ridiculous matters Naruto has ever seen. Still, he receives that the request turned into whatever, but nah, I don't care. It isn't honestly a mystery anyway, he says with a wave of his hand. All of them clutch seats and pull near the desk. Naruto sends a wink to Penemu, who smirks and winks again. She likes what she sees, and he is seemingly powerful too, requirements in guys that she loves to have fun with. Azazel clears his throat, getting everybody's attention back on him. So Naruto, what choose do you want me to do? Properly, I want you to take me and my charge to the human size. I'm kinda a stray devil that left without delay after being turned, and I in no way found out a way to teleport, Naruto says, and all of them just sweat drop. How did he get past all people and infiltrate the Grigori? Additionally, need simple devil magic books to educate myself how to use magic, he says with a nod. Azazel cups his fingers and leans at the desk. Well, I've a few questions earlier than I think about your request, Naruto. First, why don't I sense any devil magic inside you? It is an easy one. I am only a clone product of chakra, so I cannot have any Satan magic in me, he says, making them all widen their eyes in shock. The clone isn't too involved, approximately exposing that as pretty an awful lot. Everyone again domestic knew that he used Kage Bunshin, and he still kicked their ass. Wherein is the real you? Shemhazai asks. A couple days away by strolling with the young girl I'm looking after. He dispatched me in case all and sundry got trigger glad, Naruto says with a wave. Okay, I can accept that for now. How did you get Gru to become, and who is your grasp? Azazel asks. Naruto narrows his eyes. First off, no person is my master. I do not care if that is what Satan policies say or what now not. However, that is something everybody must recognize, for the way I were given became. I used to be very injured, and a Satan through the call of Seraphal Leviathan came upon me. I believe she turned into seeking to help me as she failed to realize I'd recover certainly, and used her, Queen, Peace, to show me. I awakened a pair days later, heard that she called me her servant, and needed to do matters for her, and was out of her mansion in 10 minutes, used a clone to distract her, and now I'm looking to get to the human realm. No real motive to kill infinite devils after me, even though I will if I must. Azazel is a touch extensive-eyed that Seraphal got a peerage member, and he ran off inside the first day, even though surely he could have probably finished the equal. She is a candy lovely female. However, she is sincerely a kind of loopy, in order that turned into you. Shemhazai says whilst nodding. Wait, you knew Seraphal were given a peerage member who ran away? Azazel questions. Of root, I did. And if you did your paperwork, you will too, Shemhazai says exasperatedly, drawing chuckles from anybody else. In the end, Naruto, what could we get out of assisting you? Azazel asks. He isn't always going to help a stray devil for free, even if his introduction is great. Tisk. I used to be hoping that the angel and you'll just want to help out an unlucky soul caught in a bad region. Fine. I guess I'm able to owe you favors that you can collect every time as long as they don't contain the younger woman I'm protective or create a struggle, Naruto says with a sigh. I need newbie and intermediate books for devil magic now, although, how will we know you might not pass back to your word? Shemhazai asks. Azazel is in reality just going to assist him regardless if he goes back on his phrase later. Inquiring for the one's things is literally nothing to him. All of a sudden, the air is going bloodless and everybody tenses as Naruto looks over at Shemhazai. I don't pass return on my word. It's my Nindo, Naruto growls out. The aggravating feeling disappears. Getting a sigh of comfort from the fallen, best a drop of sweat can be visible on Penemu's face, although her eyes shine in lust. In that tense ecosystem, she ought to in reality sense the presence of an apex predator lurking underneath his gaze. If that become the clone should do, just consider the authentic. The numerous men she is fucking regularly now couldn't ever suit what she simply felt. Plus, consider the options that clones provide. Penemu begins chuckling darkly to herself. Properly. I think that answers that query, Azazel says with a small laugh. Hoping to lighten the mood, he fails horribly. I will come right here with my charge in 3 days, so be geared up then. Oh, and in case you attempt to damage us, well, there may not be a fallen angel faction anymore, Jiao Eni. The clone says earlier than dispelling. I think we have to take him out. Creating a hazard like that after inquiring for a favor, Barrakiel scowls. You felt it too, no? Penemu says that moment wherein you felt like a mouse and the attention of a cat caught sight of you. There's something risky about that boy. Makes me need him all of the more. Leaving. Aside your choices, Penemu. I see no cause to strengthen things. Besides, he did get in right here overlooked. Who's to say he does it again, and this time slits our throats? Azazel states, getting multiple frowns. Besides, what he is soliciting for is so simple that I might have probably granted it without something and go back. I simply desired to see what he would offer. I'm interested by the younger woman he's looking after? Who is she, and why is he looking after her? Shemhazai asks. I nonetheless assume we ought to deal with him. Barakil grumbles. Do not you start acting like Kokabil too now, Azazel jokes. Getting a small spherical of Snickers. XXXX 47, 48, 49, 50. Vala grunts out. After returning to her begin role, she right now falls to the ground sopping wet in sweat. That turned into her 10th and final set of push United States for the day's education. After 2 days of watching Naruto teach and with Albion's encouraging, she timidly requested for Naruto to teach her. He were given all excited and jumped up and down, shouting how he could be even higher than Erosenin. He requested her what her modern-day skills were, and he or she instructed him that she has had no education before, as her dad changed into scared that she could get stronger than him. Naruto frowned and patted her head, telling her that it's no trouble and it is in smooth repair. At the same time as feeling quite secure round him, she nonetheless withheld the reality that she has a sacred equipment from him, on the grounds that Naruto has no idea on a way to use magic or teach with it. He has been setting her through the gauntlet physically, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and going for walks without weights all day. After the primary day, she thought she changed into going to die. That feeling has nevertheless not long gone away. Even after a week and a half of later, she watches Naruto end up his set of 200 push-ups, and he jumps up sweating tough, but nonetheless geared up for anything. She seems at his weights and idly wonders how lots they each weigh. She hasn't ever seen him take them off both. One of these notable warm-up, any Vala-chan? He asks together with his signature grin. She grunts, too worn out to speak. You certainly being trained by a sadist. None of my predecessors did anything close to what you are doing at such a young age. Albion informs her with a piece of a laugh and some pride laced in. She will truly wield the divine dividing well in the future. Now Naruto says earlier than he stops speaking and shakes his head. She has visible him every day do this when he receives his clone's memories. However, this time none of his clones in massive numbers have dispelled. Nicely, it seems that the clone I dispatched to the Grigori carried out his assignment. Vala-chan were going to the human realm. Also, getting some books on the way to use devil magic. Ultimately, she groans out, I'm able to quickly forestall this torture and cognizance on magic. Naruto furrows his brow while he hears her. What do you suggest? You'll simply practice magic after you figure out? He questions with such an harmless tone that she cannot tell if he is trying to torture her on purpose or no longer. We will leave first component the following day, as it will take 2 days to get there at a decent pace. I am going to spar with the Goken and conjust the groups. Naruto runs off and Vala drags herself over to a tree to have something to lean on. Above her is any other clone nonetheless working towards chakra control who seems bored out his thoughts. Vala watches as Naruto is going all out with his clones, taking as many hits as he's giving, his smile never leaving his face the entire time. So, Vala-chan, how have you liked being around the boss so far? The clone questions. It has been exclusive, in a great manner. It looks as if he cares. Vala says softly. She sees Naruto deliver a bone-shattering kick to a clone's face, dispelling it. Another clone receives underneath his protect, kicks him beneath the chin, launching him upward. He defends against several others seeking to take gain of his airborne country, and as he falls, raises his foot above him and smashes the floor, leaving a 10-yard crater. You realize, Vala, we do take care of you, the clone says. Why? Is it due to my final name? I cannot apprehend your motives, Vala asks with a piece of an angry tone. All that she hears is silence, earlier than listening to laughter coming from above her, searching up. She glares on the clone whilst laughs freely. Ha ha ha, you truly have no agree with, do you? He says unluckily. In reality I was comparable, but so distinct at your age. What do you mean? She demands. I grew up in a horrific situation similar to you. I used to be an orphan, born at the identical day that a tailed beast attacked our village. The leader of our village sealed the beast into me at the cost of his own life, hoping that the child might be regarded as a hero. The human beings, however, of their hatred and ache, only noticed the beast in human form. I used to be handled extraordinarily, overwhelmed, walking for my existence many activities, ingesting scraps and rotten meals, and unnoticed by way of quite lots each person, keep 3 people, until I was 13. I wore a mask every single day, so I really recognize a piece approximately as shitty formative years. Do you realize what changed me? The day the first individual mentioned me as me, now not a demon or a prankster, as Uzumaki Naruto, once I saw you, and the signs of having an adolescence as horrific or perhaps even worse than mine. I desired to help. I used to be going to acknowledge you. That's all, it's Miles. I just want that will help you, Vala Lucifer. No different reason than that, Naruto says with a smile. Vala doesn't face him, but in her eyes tears form. She gives a shaky nod of the pinnacle as she rubs her eyes together with her hands. The clone would not say something extra. As they sit in silence watching the spar in front of them, Azazel sits outdoor, awaiting his visitors to come. He has already knowledgeable the entire Grigori to now not assault a younger, whiskered blonde Satan traveling with the infant below ache of demise. He'd rather no longer fight a man that may sneak round and kill you without you even knowing it. It would be pretty horrific for his sex lifestyles. The alternative leaders of the Grigori, except Kokabeel, who are all cadres, are making ready in case this goes south some way. Commonly, Azazel could say that is overkill and he should handle it himself, but his instincts warn him to now not fight this guy alone. On the grounds that his instincts have been tempered within the 3-faction warfare, he is aware of that they're not often wrong. He senses the 2 devils earlier than he sees them, truly letting him understand they're right here, even though he suspects they do not know a way to suppress it if they're asking for Satan magic textbooks. The magical energy in the pair is considerable. Both already have mature excessive magnificent Satan reserves. Certainly, they'll both be powerhouses in Satan magic in the years to come. He stands up as he sees them spherical constructing, with many fallen following them, each equipped to smite the devils if they allot as attempt something humorous. Azazel sees that the girl, round 12, is extraordinarily frightened and scared, her eyes continuously roaming through the ranks of the fallen as she holds onto one of the blonde's hands. The blonde, Naruto, Azazel reminds himself, looks absolutely relaxed, not concerned inside the slightest. Approximately all of the fallen. None of his frame language betrays him both, which most effective confirms Azazel's mind that this man is risky. As he glances at some of his fallen, he can see that several are sweating on the strength output of the 2, their magical auras not being limited in any way. He is taking notice of them and is going to increase their training as they should not be sweating from this amount. Ah, Naruto. Top to look you once more, sorry approximately the reception, however some human beings insisted with you being a devil and all, Azazel says with a smile as they get close to him. Naruto waves it off, completely comprehensible. I were extra amazed and suspicious if you failed to be sincere, he says. Azazel reaches his hand out for a handshake, which Naruto easily accepts. Azazel attempts to get a study on how lots chakra the enigmatic blonde in the front of him has. However, his unsuppressed magical strength is making it hard for him. All he can inform is that it is lots. Men are greater than his magic reserves, and if I will ask, who is your partner? Azazel asks as he looks down at the young girl. Something about her appearance is ringing faint bells in his head, but he cannot appear to take into account. Naruto gives her hand a reassuring squeeze as she leans into his leg, trying to break out from all the attention on her. That is Vala Lucifer, Naruto states, stunning all of the fallen angels' gift. They knew about Rhizome Lucifer and that he had a son, but nobody knew about a little girl Lucifer. The scrutinizing glares on her extended tenfold, and she is almost shaking in her footwear right now. Even Azazel is giving her any other as soon as over, and his eyes widen in shock at what he feels inside the lady. Oh, a descendant of Lucifer with a robust sacred gear. Now isn't always this a surprise, says out loud. Vala's eyes widen with a panicked look on her face as she looks closer to Naruto, who merely has an eyebrow raised, despite the fact that, allows flow forward to our business right here. I don't think Vala-chan likes all the stares that she is receiving, Naruto states, getting a nod from Azazel. They stroll over to the desk in which Azazel becomes sitting, and with a snap of his palms and a magic circle later, 20 books appear on it. Those are amateur, intermediate, and advanced stage devil magic textbooks with a couple subspecialty magic books thrown in there, as well as a pair at the records of devils and their pillars. There's also a fallen angel records ebook in there as well, so that you may have a unique angle, Azazel states with a grin. He without a doubt went above and beyond. But once more his identical instincts had been telling him that this turned into the proper pass. His advisors are going to have an shape about it later. Naruto increases an eyebrow in wonder. You do realize which you are nevertheless handiest getting favors proper? He questions. Yup. Remember this a present from the Grigori faction, Azazel states with a nod. Thanks, Azazel, Naruto says with an actual smile. He pulls out a scroll and permits cross of Vala's hand. He quickly seals the books in it, a good deal to the hobby of Azazel, and rolls it returned up. Vali, meanwhile, reduced in size into herself as the stares of all the fallen is getting an excessive amount for her to handle. Naruto stands beside Vali as Azazel procedures them. Okay, I am going to teleport you to the human realm now, he says, getting a nod from each of them. A magic circle appears under them and that they disappear into it. The next second they're deposited in an alley of what seems like a town, and it's miles bloodless out. Naruto can already see his breathe, something he in no way ought to within the land of the fire. Vala shivers a chunk, without a doubt feeling the chunk of the cold along with her light clothing. Right, here is 5,000 euros and my cellular telephone quantity. Call it after you get your personal, so that this way I've a manner to contact you. Don't worry, approximately us being in one-of-a-kind dimensions. I have that blanketed. Take care, Naruto, Vala, and see you quickly. Azazel says as he disappears in a flash. Vala appears up at Naruto, with worry in her eyes. However, Naruto would not be aware as he is too busy cursing out Azazel, silly fallen, pranking us by sending us who is aware of wherein, and we should parent it out via ourselves. At the least he gave us cash. Nevertheless, what the hell is a cell phone? Naruto grumbles out. He sees Vala shivering, her shorts and short-sleeved shirt in reality now not made for this climate, and the first issue he resolves to do is buy new garb. Come on, Vala-chan, permits go get you new garb, he says. XXX Vala is getting more and more anxious. She has been on foot around all day with Naruto, buying garments, exploring the city, and going to a library to discern out in which there and what the hell a cellular telephone is seems. It's Miles, the small tool all of the different people have been keeping to their ear, and it's far used for conversation over long distances. He quick buys a small flip smartphone and calls Azazel, letting him recognize that this is his range. Naruto, her. Nicely, she doesn't clearly know what to call him. Guardian? Pal? Is curious about the whole lot that human beings have performed, which is bizarre. Wasn't he a human earlier then too? Shouldn't he recognize about this stuff? Regardless, she can't help but worry as her secret has been uncovered. Naruto is aware of that she has a sacred tools that she failed to tell him approximately yet. He hasn't said a word approximately it yet. The concern is eating at her. I think you are worrying too much. He doesn't seem to care that you kept it from him. Also, remember when he said that a beast was sealed inside him too? He probably understands your reluctance to talk about it. Albion says this is real, but I lied to him. Vala anxiously thinks if she ever lied return when she become together with her father. It turned into now not a pleasing time. She nevertheless has the scars to show it. Finally, the duo discover themselves in an inn, something quite reasonably priced as they have got already long gone through 2,000 euros buying themselves new clothing. After they get into their room, which includes 2 queen-sized beds, Vala can't take it anymore. Why have not you said something? She asks with a chunk of anger in her voice. Huh? Why, haven't you gotten irritated that I have a sacred equipment? That I stored it from you all this time? Did you understand? She almost screams, with tears of frustration welling up in her eyes. Naruto, his eyes widening, walks up to her and hugs her. She flinches before everything from the contact. However, she quickly offers into the hug, tears rolling down her face, the stress of the whole day attending to her. Vala-chan, I didn't understand you had a sacred tools. I sincerely don't simply understand a lot about them other than their artifacts from the biblical God. Whence it doesn't rely to me, although, besides, I don't expect you to have advised me all your secrets and techniques by means of now. We've only recognized every other for approximately 2 weeks now, Naruto states with a snigger as he pats her head. Thanks. And Naruto, Vala says, she is clearly lucky to have met Naruto whilst she did. His sunny persona has torn down all her walls and she or he looks like she will sincerely agree with a person other than her mom now. No mention it, kiddo. Now, I'm going to take a bath. It has been manner too lengthy due to the fact I was final capable of, Naruto says with a chuckle and goes into the restroom. I told you, hatchling, he doesn't care. It seems like you have found yourself a good sensei. Albion says, sensei. Yes, that is exactly what Naruto is. My sensei Vala thinks as she lays back on her mattress, the inviting embody of the tender mattress, something she hasn't felt in a long time, fast ushers her to the land of dreams. A small smile on her face, Vala is breathing raggedly as she stares down her sensei, who does not appear to be fazed at all. She ignores the ache she feels throughout her body and yet again charges at him. She gets close to him, lashing out with a proper hook that he easily blocks. But she knew that as her left foot is aiming at his aspect, he grabs maintain of it, and she or he speedy jumps up and tries to a blow to his face with her right leg. Naruto merely actions the minimal quantity of distance away as her foot slightly brushes via it, and grants a devastating punch to her abdomen, and throws her away with contemptuous ease. By no means going to hit me with straightforward assaults like that, Vala-chan, Naruto says teasingly. She growls as she picks herself returned up, shakily standing on her own legs. Permits. Call it a day, Naruto says, and she right away falls down, dirt, blood, and sweat masking her garments. Her clothes are ripped all over the area. However, she would not care. Her modesty becomes something beaten out of her in these spars. Disturbing approximately your state of dress in a combat is an easy manner to grow to be distracted and killed, Naruto advised her. He then furnished numerous examples from his very own reports, and she took them to heart. He additionally told her that if she ever fights a perverted male in a few years, she may want to easily kill him while he's distracted. A win is a win. It doesn't count if it is the most chivalrous or the maximum dirty, underhanded win ever. So long as you continue to exist and your opponent does not, it really is all that definitely subjects, Naruto additionally said to her. He stated that those are simple shinobi policies that you have to take to heart. No longer doing so will possibly cease with you being killed. She still has a tough time believing that he's from an exclusive universe wherein shinobi warfare with all the techniques that he has proven her, along with devils, angels, fallen, and nearly all the gods do not exist. He only knew of gods in his home world, the Shinigami and Kagaya. Sensei, you are brutal as always, she whines as she choices herself up. No longer is she a malnourished, out-of-form little lady. Her muscle groups are lithe and strong, way to the torture classes she has been through. Yes, she has concluded it's Miles' torture, and not training. Albion is of the same opinion along with her. The stuff she started out with is now toddler's play in comparison to now. Consider me. It's the nice way to examine. This is what my sensei did to me, Naruto informs her sagely. Failed to you assert he did that to conquer the idiot out of you. Vala deadpans, yup. That too. I feel it's far something I ought to do to you as nicely, Naruto says with a smile. She rolls her eyes as she seems like he receives some personal delight beating up his very own scholar. His methods are working wonders though. It's clear how much stronger you are now. Now if he would just let you start practicing with my power, Albion grumbles. Naruto made a rule early on that she isn't to use Albion's electricity at all until he says so, due to the fact she first has to get strong on her own. Sensei, when am I able to begin the usage of my sacred equipment? Vala asks as she walks over to him, the weights on her legs and arms making even this simple motion torturous right now. Naruto rolls his eyes. Not for a while. You continue to want a ton of schooling in your taijutsu. Conflict consciousness talents are still missing. Your magic is coming along well, but growing your reserves is always a need to. We also need to quickly work on aerial fight because it appears many fights occur in the air. I also need to paintings on that as nicely to be sincere, he informs her. She slouches barely at his assessment. Something he notices, overall even though, I assume you are doing notable, coming from no education by any means, that is top-notch development, he enhances her, making her increase her head with some satisfaction. Now why do not you get showered and modified at the same time as I dispel my clones and make us some dinner, Naruto says. She nods her head eagerly. As his cooking is first-rate, she runs return to their residence. A regular two-tail house with 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. The only tremendous aspect is the place as it's far within the middle of a wooded area. That's why Naruto offered it, and the surrounding woodland as well, in order that they might have enough room to teach in peace. She asked him how he were given so much money, and he pulled out a touch orange e-book and said that he posted something from his home international. She wasn't allowed to study it though, because it is not appropriate for her. Nevertheless, it appears he has made quite a few cash if she judges by the manner he chuckles darkly whenever he examines his bank account. She certainly can faintly hear his cackling right now as she listens intently. He constantly gets that manner while his clones manage a breakthrough. He additionally curses approximately how he would have destroyed Sasuke team with this news circulate, and gets a touch depressed afterwards. She does her pleasant to cheer him up even though, as he has for her. While she walks downstairs after cleansing herself up, she sees Naruto placing their food at the desk. Her mouth waters as she sees the grilled salmon, asparagus, broccoli, and pasta set out at the table. She sits down and starts off piling it on her plate, now not demanding approximately manners at all. So, I used to be considering us taking place a ride to peer the Norse faction for the reason that we're in Germany. Kurama thinks it is a good concept too, Naruto says as he piles at the meals as properly. To say Kurama was surprised about all of the other factions and how there were a ton of gods become an understatement. He almost screamed at Naruto for no longer waking him up to inform him. Naruto clearly said that he could have if they had met one. He genuinely wishes Kurama's help if they face a person like Tagaya right here. Kurama became much less amazed approximately Naruto taking in Vali, in particular after he heard approximately her heritage. He's interested by locating out who's stronger, although, him or the heavenly dragon. Vala's eyes widen a chunk. Why? She asks properly. We have been right here for 6 months and I'm starting to get a touch restless. I were given used to traveling with Erosenin earlier than he died, so it is specific just staying right here to train. It will additionally be excellent in an effort to see some of the opposite factions and study a piece approximately them, Naruto informs her. I guess, she says even as she plays along with her meals, the concept of meeting human beings, no longer to mention gods, from exceptional faction is a bit horrifying to her. Still, if her sensei says it's important and desires to move, then she will be able to too. Okay, she says with a bit extra self-belief, making Naruto nod. He has been attempting his exceptional to deliver up the self-confidence and 310A1671F8K56BBFCD4823250888 of the female, while also trying to no longer make her boastful. Apparently, dragons are acknowledged for their vanity, and the Longinus wielders of boosted and dividing tools can take on a few draconic tendencies. He does not need to raise an Uchiha. Do not worry approximately anything. I might be there with you. Besides, you are more potent than you believe. You studied. It is simply hard, which will use me as a measuring stick, Naruto says in between bites. Nicely. How are we going to get there? Vala asks. I'm going to call Azazel and spot if he can tell me where in the earth entrance is to Asgard and then move there, Naruto says with a shrug. When Azazel referred to as numerous months ago to check up on them, and he discovered out that Naruto is the author of Ika, as it's far below the pseudonym the Toad Sage, well, he informed Naruto to call him on every occasion he desires assist. Vala nods as it's far a very legitimate factor. She does not pretty recognize what to consider Azazel. He appeared first class, but he is her herbal enemy. She is going to ought to meet him a pair extra times to determine how she feels. After dinner, Naruto receives up, whilst two clones positioned away the dishes, and calls Azazel. Naruto? What is up? Azazel asks. Hi there, Ero Tenshi. I was thinking if you could tell me where the Earth Gate is to the Norse faction. Naruto asks. Why do you want to know that? Azazel questions with a little shock, due to the fact I want to travel, and touring the Norse pantheon sounds like a very good concept. Naruto explains to him. I ought to let you know, but it will value you. Maybe you may permit me take a look at Vala's sacred equipment? Azazel asks with a touch of excitement. I swear you've got a hard-on while you speak about sacred gears. It is a no, Naruto deadpants. I do now not. They're simply so severe and mysterious that I certainly revel in figuring them out. Well, then I wager I ought to do it for the but unpublished Ika, master that is meant to come out in 2 months, Azazel says with a perverted tone. Now, how did I know that became what you had been going to invite for? I've it right here with me. You may meet us at the gate to get it, Naruto informs him. Deal. Meet at Lone, Norway in 3 days at noon. I can display you where the gate is, Azazel says cheerfully. He just struck a wonderful deal. He is going to have to ensure Shimhazai covers for him as he researched this new book intensive. The first he even did reenactments. Naruto hangs up with a giggle. Azazel reminds him a variety of Erosenin. Besides, it seems Azazel receives manner greater women and is a pace setter. He nevertheless can't realize why, even though, evidently males, no matter the species, are all stupid like ninjas. Kurama guffaws. Close-up fuzzball. You likely undergo my recollections to study the Ika collection while you are bored, Naruto says. It's true, the outstanding Kyubi no Kitsune is a closet pervert. Naruto shouts in his mind, laughing. Quiet. It's now not like you've got whatever else in this empty brain of yours to entertain me, Kurama huffs as he curls up, glaringly looking to spare himself an addition embarrassment. Sensei? Vala questions, bringing him out of his mind. Sorry Vala-chan, speak me to Kurama. Anyhow, we are meeting up with Azazel in 3 days in Lone, Norway, and he's going to take us to the gate, Naruto says, getting a nod from her. Additionally, Sensei, I heard you're cackling as I used to be on foot lower back. Did your clones parent something out? She asks. Sure. He shouts with a smile. They've finally mastered the second 1 degree of fire manipulation. In the end, it took for all time. I definitely didn't have any sort of affinity for it at all, he finishes sheepishly. Congrats, Sensei. Are you going to do your hearth release? Wonderful hearth annihilation jutsu once more? Vala asks with a cute tilt of her head. Naruto rubs her head and says, of course. It ought to be plenty in the direction of that damned Uchiha's now. Still, I want to peer if I can upload my fire launch to my Rasengan like I did with wind. Vala's eyes widen when she recollects that attack. A certain one-hit kill assault that destroyed a large place when it exploded, billions of wind blades packed into it that would cut anything. Even Albion stated it became wonderful. That would clearly be explosive, she states. I realize proper. Anyways, you must get some relaxation as the subsequent days I'm ramping up our schooling. I don't know while the subsequent time we can teach, so we need to get it in now, Naruto says with that smile. Silly, sadist sensei, she groans as she drags herself to bed, listening to his laughter in the back of her. XXXX nicely. He didn't say precisely in which to fulfill. Naruto says as he stands by way of the river with Vala. He's awed via the surroundings right here, and the herbal power feels madder cleaner than in Germany. It does not even evaluate to MT, Mayaboku, although Vala simply takes in the scenery with a small smile on her face. She knows her sensei is huge into nature, so being right here should make him satisfied. Plus, it seems way cooler than the forests of Germany that she is used to. In the back of her, she feels the telltale signs and symptoms of a magic circle. She knows her sensei is astray. Plus, she in all likelihood has people searching after her too, so she turns around with power constructing up in her arms. Azazel appears and gains an amused smile on his face while he sees Vala ready to strike at him. His senses inform him that no longer best has her magical power grown appreciably, but it is tons greater subtle as nicely. The rumors approximately the Lucifer genes granting titanic magical reserves are possibly authentic. Her frame additionally appears healthful and robust, a clear contrast to the ultimate time he noticed her. Subsequently, she has a much better appearance in her eyes. Truly, she is being nicely taken care of. He looks over at Naruto, and his eyes widen apiece at just how a lot magical energy he has already. He absolutely near the cusp of a low final class Satan, and its miles further refined to Vala's. It is also getting used to cover up the chakra, which he can tell lurks beneath the surface as a veritable ocean. Simply how deep is the actual query? It probably that big that quickly, due to him being the queen of a Mao. Azazel thinks to himself. The one's portions had been designed with none regulations on them. Well, it seems like you two had been schooling tough. I can tell you both have a big difference in magical strength. Vala, the look in your eyes is tons higher, Azazel states causally, causing Naruto to grin widely and Vala to get a small blush of embarrassment at the praise. Listening to that you are progressing well from her sensei is one aspect. Hearing it from a third party is a very distinctive be counted. Yes, I have been pushing Vala hard together with her bodily exercises, and we've both been operating on our magic. Still, while I am no longer an excellent sensor for magical strength yet, I will tell you've got us without difficulty outclassed, Naruto informs him. Ha 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 ha, that I do. But at your rate of boom that won't be for long, Azazel says with fun. Seriously, what kind of training timetable do you have got? I should use it myself, he asks. It is torture. I am being tortured every unmarried day by way of my sadistic sensei. Vala deadpans, inflicting Azazel to mock glare at Naruto. Hee, come on Vala-chan. It's no longer that awful, right? He says a little nervously. Proper? He says weakly. At least I cook dinner for you and convey you on cool journeys, Naruto says, seeking to salvage himself as Azazel's glare receives harder. I wager, Vala says with a small smile, she honestly wouldn't trade something. However, her education is torture. Well, Naruto, maybe you have to permit Vala to do regular child things in preference to educate, Azazel shows. What do youngsters do for a laugh apart from educate? That is what I did, and pranks, and ingesting ramen. Naruto questions absolutely, getting a sweat drop from Azazel. Do you want to learn how to prank humans? Naruto asks, getting a shake of the head in return. It is first rate, I enjoy it, sensei. That does not trade the fact that it is torture, she states with a small smile, getting Naruto to let loose a sigh of comfort. He concept for a second that he was a terrible sensei. He is modeling it after Erosenin and Kakashi sensei, except taking away all the elements he did not like about them, like consuming, peeping, studying porn, arriving late, now not telling him the way to do matters, and going to brothels. Wow, maybe they weren't the greatest teachers ever, Naruto thinks to himself. Kurama snorts, you observe, brat? Although you did get this a ways, so they couldn't have been terrible. Well, your coaching/parenting talents aside, did you carry it? Azazel asks eagerly, of direction. Ero Tenchi, right here you go, he says as he tosses the e-book closer to him. Azazel catches it, opens it up, giggles perversely, and closes it. Properly, a deal is a deal. Are you able to fly, butt? He asks. Yes, although we aren't exquisite at it. We have been generally working on our magical reserves, sensory competencies, and attacks. Naruto informs him. They walk into the wooded area to not be seen, and Naruto shall we out his wings alongside the alternative. Azazel has 12 pitch black wings that look extraordinarily glossy, and Vala shall we out her 6 devil wings. Stressful Naruto that he only has. He needs extra, damn it. Ah, the other trait of the Lucifer clan, the authentic Mao clans have a couple of pair of wings, Azazel says as he appears at them. They're additionally an indicator of a Lucifer's magical prowess, and it's far steadily harder to gain the following set. 6 wings is very good for a 13-year antique. Vala blushes again and says, I used to only have 4 when I first met sensei. Come on, show-offs. Allows getting transferring. Naruto says as he is still sour, approximately best having 1 set. Taking walks as much as a war with 12 wings would be badass. Azazel guffaws at the obvious, jealously rolling off Naruto earlier than starting up into the sky. Vala and Naruto follow speedy behind as Azazel sets a mild pace for them to hold up with him. They fly for approximately an hour, earlier than descending right into a foggy woodland. Naruto can tell by means of the magic surrounding this place that this fog is clearly not ordinary. They devise this fog so that humans do not hit upon this place. The cause why we failed to just teleport here is that we probably would have been instantly attacked. Maximum pantheons are the kill first. Ask questions later type, Azazel informs him. Naruto, while assured in Vali, still actions closer to her in case they may be all at once attacked. He doesn't need to lose his simplest treasured man or woman in this international. They hold to stroll for 15 minutes, making small speak, before they stand in the front of a massive white barred gate, with a large circle in the middle in which the 2 sides meet, depicting a Valkyrie driving a horse. The fog absolutely covers to the sides of the gate, and Naruto doubts that going around it is possible, properly. Right here you are. I am going to perform a little research now. Have amusing, Azazel says with a perverted grin. He disappears in a teleportation circle, leaving the 2 of them alone. What now, sensei? Vala asks. A little awe of the gate. Allows knock politely, and if they do not reply, kick it down, Naruto says with amusing. He walks up fearlessly, Vala right behind him, and reaches the bottom of the gate. Halt, traveler. For what cause have you ever come to the gates of Valhalla? A young female with golden hair and green eyes, no extra than 25, asks as she rides a horse. We are looking for in target market with the All-Father, Naruto states with the extreme tone. Vala looks up at him in surprise, as she has rarely heard that voice. For what reason? The stunning Valkyrie asks. To peer Asgard, Naruto says. The Valkyrie increases an eyebrow. A magic circle seems through her ear and she or he nods her head in response. The All-Father, Odin, has decided to accept your request. Please step through the gates, she says as the gates begin to open. The moment Naruto and Vala cross the road of the gate, they are unexpectedly somewhere else. On a rainbow bridge, they're searching beyond the bridge. Miles away, they are able to see an expansive metropolis, with wonderful buildings that glister inside the mild of the solar. This is Asgard, and the bridge we're standing on is the Bifrost, that which connects the 9 realms of Yggdrasil together. In case you need, you could consider the human realm as the primary size with the size of the gods branched off it. No different godly realm is immediately connected to it. You must go through the dimensional gap to get here. In any other case, the Valkyrie informs them. Naruto nods his head. too awestruck to say something else. Definitely. God, stay right here as it's far simply unreal. Vala too cannot communicate. Let us go. It is quality to no longer hold the All-Father ready, the Valkyrie says. However, Naruto notices a faint quantity of annoyance whilst she stated All-Father. Curious. It takes about half-hour of on foot to get to the metropolis, and another 15 after that to the primary building. Nevertheless, Naruto doesn't thoughts at all. He enjoys the new surroundings. The Valkyrie factors out the mansions of Thor, Loki, and the alternative gods and goddesses of the Norse religion. Some of the human beings within the town are Valkyries or servants to the gods. Naruto sees many walking around, going approximately lifestyles as people do. Soon, they arrive in front of the massive doorways of the throne room. Vala, a touch apprehensive, grabs Naruto's hand, getting a mild squeeze of her hand as reassurance. The Valkyrie in front of him pushes the doorways open, and the swing opened loudly. Within the throne room, Naruto's gaze is first set on the person on the throne, an antique man, like Sarutobi Gigi, whose visage screams revel in awareness, strength, locks his one eye onto them, intently scrutinizing each element, his robes and crown. Deliver credence to the fact that he's the one in charge here, and you have to provide him the proper recognize. As Naruto seems around, he notices the Valkyries lining the carpet that stretches over the marble to the throne, with sword and shield in hand, every looking like that of a warrior princess. His eyes drift as much as the ceiling, the gold-trimmed dome, with photos of Odin's heroic feats painted throughout it. They begin on foot towards him, still no longer leaving his scrutinizing eye. And Naruto sees what he presumes to be other gods and goddesses, who are curious as to why they're in Asgard. Many are murmuring amongst themselves, however Naruto cannot listen their communication. They stop at the edge of the stairs that ascend to the throne as Odin still gazes down at them. Vala squirms barely on the intensity, but doesn't display worry. Odin leans returned in his throne as the Valkyrie kneels to the floor, at the same time as Naruto and Vala remain status. So Kaira, it seems your chest has grown a bit from the remaining time I saw you, Odin says as he strokes his beard. Naruto almost face faults because the first issue out of this vintage guy's mouth is a perverted remark. Critically, he should have acknowledged higher by means of now. Vali manages to hold her jaw from falling to the ground. She then looks down at her very own chest and wonders whilst she will begin developing. Her sensei advised her, after tons stammering and such about what she can begin going through when puberty arrives, consistent with him. It's going to begin quickly for her. No, Odin-sama. It has now not grown because the closing time you notice, Mikara states in an impartial voice, not betraying something, when turned into that. A pair years ago, proper? You truly ought to come back to my private protect, Odin says with a slightly perverted grin. I must respectfully decline, Odin-sama, as I am married now. I don't experience it's far suitable to be groped anymore, except through my husband. Okara another time says neutrally, this is right, I forgot you acquire married. Well, thank you for bringing me those two, Odin says, and she takes that as a dismissal. She walks over and stands by using the alternative Valkyries. It has been a long term considering that we have been visited by any other pantheon, in particular with the aid of devils. I think it has been 40 years because the final devil stepped foot in Asgard. What are your names? Odin asks, his voice now radiating authority. Unexpectedly, the whole lot goes dark for a moment, which causes a few commotion before a single beam of mild shines on Naruto and Vali. Naruto is in an abnormal stance, although without weapons, causing the Valkyries to lessen their guard, and Vala looking up at him in bewilderment. Guys, run in fear at the point out of my name, even as women sense a wetness between their thighs. The vanquisher of the Akatsuki and scholar of Jiraiya of the Sannin. The son of the yellow flash and pink hot habanero. The toad sage. The service of 9. The kid of prophecy. Uzumaki Naruto Databayo. Naruto yells, finishing his dance. Fireworks go off behind him as his audience is stupefied by means of the display. Vala is blushing crimson in embarrassment for understanding him, but she admits privately that it was pretty cool. Odin, for all his wisdom, had his jaw dropped at the show. He asks, in an almost reverent tone, Did you assert the toad sage? When Naruto nods his head, Odin quickly appears in front of him, so speedy that Vala didn't see him flow, with a pen and a bit orange e-book. Do you observe you may sign this for me? He questions eagerly. Naruto deadpans the chief of the Norse faction, who's appearing whatever however dignified right now. Still, he hates formalities too. Sure factor arrow GG, Naruto says. With gasps coming from the room, Vala is horrified that her sensei just called Odin a perverted antique guy. He signs it along with his call in stunning kanji. Earlier than handing to lower back to Odin, Odin takes a moment as he looks at Naruto. Earlier than bursting out guffawing, "Ha ha ha ha, I love you, child, you're a real directly shooter. Name it like you see it," Odin says as he heads again up to his throne. Vala lets out a sigh of alleviation as she appears her sensei. In reality, he must be seeking to get them killed, now, Odin says together with his authoritative voice. However, his recent actions made him lose all credibility with Naruto and Vala in any way. "Why is it which you have come right here?" "Well, Erogigi, we were in Germany education and that I thought let's go see the Norse faction, so I called up Erotenchi and he delivered us to the gates. We certainly desire to explore and spot the splendor of Yggdrasil and meet a few new humans. Also by using the manor, I forgot to mention that this is my disciple, Vala Lucifer," Naruto says offhandedly, inflicting a stir among the Norse crowd, a descendant of the Mao himself. "I observed that proper away. I saw the original Mao Lucifer a couple instances, and she surely has some of the equal characteristics," Odin says, even as stroking his beard. "She will be a beauty in numerous years," he says sagely, causing Vala to blush and Naruto to deadpan. "So Erogigi, are we able to live and go searching?" Naruto asks bluntly. It is not precisely clever to permit the ones associated with another faction to roam round Yggdrasil," Odin muses out loud. "Oh, don't worry. We aren't associated with the Satan faction at all. In fact, they're in all likelihood trying to kill us. You spot, I am technically a stray devil. No preference in reincarnation and surely no longer a servant. Meanwhile, Vala-chan doesn't know any of them. Also, I will throw in a pre-release reproduction of Aika Aika. Grasp right now," Naruto says with a small smile. "Finished. This night you shall banquet with the gods in Valhalla." Naruto Uzumaki and Vala Lucifer, Odin says loudly. The onlookers have expressions of shock. Those several which have studied the first two Aika Aika collection know why Odin caved so without difficulty. They sincerely are masterpieces the sector has now not seen considering Shakespeare. Naruto pulls out a scroll, and a small poof of smoke later, a duplicate of Aika Aika. Grasp is in his hand. "Here you cross," Naruto says, handing the ebook to Odin, who looks at it like it is the most valuable component within the global "Please discover on your heart's content" material. Simply do not pass in any restrained area. The guards will tell you if it is. Be back here via 5, Odin says earlier than he teleports away. Eagerly to begin his new ebook, Naruto and Vali examine each different, shrug, then walk out to discover the city of Asgard. XXXX they walk back into the throne room at precisely 5, to peer Odin on his throne laughing perversely, whilst his Valkyrie guards stand stoically on the step beneath. "Ah, you are on time, remarkable. Allow us to visit the awesome corridor of Valhalla, in which a number of our bravest warriors are living," Odin says as he closes the e-book and puts it internal his gown, on his manner down the steps. He smacks the ass of one of the guards, getting a small yelp from her. Giggling, he steps right next to Naruto and Vala, his guards making no movement closer to them. "Let us be off," he says as he makes use of a magic circle, which transports them to the front of loads of lengthy tables, each full of warriors ingesting and laughing with one another. The one long desk in front, dealing with all the others, is where the gods take a seat as they watch their warriors with pleasure. The walls and ceiling are a darkish timber, even as there are heaps of metal bowls that have hearth popping out of the top, with its lengthy shaft firmly within the ground. "Welcome to Valhalla, the house of the bravest warriors in all of Yggdrasil," Odin shouts, getting a thunderous roar in response. "You could both sit down at the gods' table this night and eat with us," Odin says as he walks to his chair and pulls out his new e-book once more. All round him are the principal gods of the Norse pantheon, except one chair left empty. Taking Vala's hand, he says, "Come on, Vala-chan. Permits cross, discover us a seat." They walk down numerous chairs until they locate 2 empty subsequent to each different. They both sit down across from goddesses, who are surprised at their appearance. "You must be the 2 all and sundry is talking about. It is uncommon that we have traffic, and rarer still that Odin-sama invitations them to Valhalla. Odin-sama must think very fantastically of the 2 of you," the goddess says. She has long blonde hair and purple eyes, with a determined shape for a goddess. "It's Miles, certainly an honor to be here. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, and that is Vala Lucifer," Naruto says with a vivid smile. "Ah, wherein are my manners? My name is Sif, spouse of Thor, and to my proper is Shaf," Sif says. The female to her proper has chocolate-colored hair falling to her but with golden eyes eyeing Naruto like he is the juiciest steak ever, best to fulfill you each. This vicinity is amazing, Naruto says in awe. It simply is. We can be here feasting for 7 days and nights. In case you get worn out, you absolutely retire to one of the rooms through the door in the back of us, or if you locate someone you like, Shaf says with a devious smile. Naruto doesn't see it as he is too busy searching round. Now. Come. Be a person and drink a few mead, Sif says as she thrusts a mug into his hands. Naruto looks down at it earlier than chugging it in a single pass. To the surprise of Vala and the goddesses. 1 extra please, Naruto says earlier than belching, drawing laughs from the goddesses, several of the gods surrounding them. Vala watches as Naruto beverages yet any other mug of mead, the sway in his step and the redness of his face sincerely indicating that he is under the influence of alcohol. He once advised her because of the Kyuubi he cannot get under the influence of alcohol, so she doesn't know what to think. The fox is probably letting his host get drunk for his own amusement. Albion remarks with a snigger. Under the influence of alcohol, Naruto is humorous, yeah. However, a number of people are crowding round Sensei now. He hasn't talked to me in some time, she says, pouting. You know, you could talk to some of the other people. I think that was one of the points for him doing this. Albion states. Well, I am apprehensive. I have never been around this many humans. Sensei is also commonly right with the aid of my aspect, Vala says to him. Warriors of Valhalla. Odin shouts, the whole location becoming silent. We've feasted for an evening together. Now it is time for this month's annual struggle to become Freya's champion. His spear, Gungnir, appears in his hand and he slams the butt of it against the ground. The panorama changes because the warriors are no longer at tables inside, however, or rather outside with their favorite weapons in hand. The gods and their table are above them, prepared to look at the endless hundreds of warriors' war in a loose for all. A warfare? Her sensei's drunken voice shouts. Join, he says as he jumps down, the use of his wings to tug up out of a loose fall on the very last second. Naruto, that is a no magic or chakra battle, just pure guns and physical energy handiest. All this humans had been blessed and have the energy and pace from medium class to upward devils. Additionally, in case you die accessible, you'll die for real, not like them. Are you positive you need to sign up for? Odin says as all the warriors stare at him. Vala watches on horrified, about to jump down and assist him. Earlier than a hand lands on her shoulder, Sif shakes her head and squeezes her shoulder tighter, no longer permitting her to join. She doesn't want to look this younger female die, and she thinks that the blonde wouldn't need that either. Naruto stands up a little straighter, his redness from his drunkenness going away and his eyes becoming sharper. I simply need to arrow GG, he yells before in a pant of smoke. Kubikuribocho appears in his palms. He swings it around without problems. Whilst all the warriors look on inspired and awed by way of the sword, that is the perfect take a look at from my kenjutsu. He continues, hey Vala-chan, watch your sensei win this factor, okay, Naruto says with a grin. She offers him a firm nod. With tears in her eyes, she would not want to lose him. Relax, hatchling. He isn't going to die, and if it comes to it he will use his magic/chakra to get out even if he has to forfeit, Albion says with a shrug. His words comforted Vala a little, and she or he has decided to observe him the complete manner. A magic circle seems underneath Naruto, and it adjustments his uniform to what he wears for the duration of training, orange and black jacket and pants, with black sandals and his scarf on his head. Come on, Arrow GG, allows go, Naruto shouts, getting a chuckle from Odin. Begin. He shouts, and the field immediately will become complete of clashes. Are you worried to your sensei? Sif asks softly. Vala nods her head as she watches him warfare a big Viking with an axe and defend. Naruto nimbly dodges the axe swipe and retaliates by bringing Kubikuribocho around in a vicious slice. The Viking increases his guard and the sword bites deeply into it. Naruto pulls it out and deflects the axe strike, this time getting to the aspect of the Viking and swinging Kubikuribocho tough, nearly cleaving the person in half. He dodges a sword strike coming at his return, earlier than delivering an overhead swing that breaks the woman's sword in one half and splits her in two. Sure, she whispers. I recognize that he is very strong, however I cannot assist, however worry, she admits. You already know, my fool of a husband is a conflict freak, and even though he's extremely sturdy, I cannot assist, however fear too. You just ought to believe in them that they will get back to you all right, Sif says a little regrettably. Her husband is someplace in the 9 realms fighting. Odin is aware of what proper now. Come, allow us to return to the feast and watch your sensei win this, Sif says as she offers her hand. Vala takes her hand and walks back to the table, though she maintains glancing over her shoulder at the orange speck within the middle of all of the relaxation. It has been an entire day and the conflict nonetheless isn't achieved. However, it's about to end. There are 10 human beings left as the gods and Vala watch on closely, repeatedly. Those 10 are those that win it the most usually. Naruto eyes down his opponent, Bjorn, if she remembers effectively what Shafn instructed her, who has an all and a steel defend. Each Naruto and Bjorn are respiratory heavily with scratches all over. Vala set free cries of shock several times as Naruto took a few heavy wounds inside the beginning several hours, fortuitously. They healed after handiest a minute or so, and that they did not gradual down Naruto at all. His kenjutsu has progressed nicely with some actual battlefield experience against capable opponents. His shortcomings were exposed and he has been working on correcting them, Albion says to her. Impressed by means of how plenty Naruto has progressed, she watches as he trades blows with Bjorn, each seeking to get a sense for the other's fashion. Naruto swings his sword diagonally, and Bjorn sidesteps and redirects it together with his defend before stepping in and swinging his axe. Naruto jumps again and raises Kubikuribocho, which takes the blow to the aspect. Now not leaving a lot as a scratch at the blade, Naruto lashes out with a foot, which Bjorn blocks with his protect. However, he nevertheless stumbles returned at touch. Capitalizing in this, Naruto presses along with his attack, with swings from above, to the side, and throughout, raining blows down on Bjorn's defend until it becomes unusable. Bjorn, in desperation, gees below one of the swings, and goes in for the kill. Naruto, but parries with the sword and strikes him down as he goes beyond Bjorn. He gives a tired smile as much as her and winks as he is blanketed in blood and gore. He takes Kubikuribocho, and seeing a struggle occurring 20 yards away, throws it, spinning horizontally, and it cleaves the girl in two. Naruto runs over, and dodging a few strikes of his new opponent, supplies a punishing kick to the man's kneecap, destroying it. He walks over and alternatives up Kubikuribocho before he quickly makes work on his injured opponent. Well, it looks like your sensei would possibly win this in any case, Sif says with a grin on her face. Nevertheless, I suppose some other warfare may simply be beginning, she maintains as she appears over to some of the goddesses. The blushes on their faces as they look down on the whiskered blonde with lust shining in their eyes bodes well for Naruto. Your sensei sure is a lucky guy, one of the gods that she has meet, Honor says with a rueful giggle. Vala smiles awkwardly, no longer certainly sure what to mention to that. Ultimately, the warfare of thousands has ended up a warfare of two. Naruto stares down his opponent, who's a whopping 6 feet 7 inches and without problems 285 kilos of pure muscle with a giant protect and all as his guns. He sprints at Naruto, defend and all at the equipped, decided to kill the blonde. He attempts to shield bash Naruto, but handiest hits air. Naruto attempts to take advantage and hit his aspect, however his opponent's short reactions block it, and he swings his all downward. Naruto deflects it, and counterattacks, leaving a gash on the person's arm. The giant of a person backs up and studies his prey more intently. Naruto, but just desires to get this over with, so he goes on an all-out attack. Swinging faster than he had before, he slowly, however absolutely chips away on the robust protection his opponent is displaying. He leaves numerous cuts all across the man's body and his Kubikuribocho sings for extra blood, not looking to be outdone. The person pushes Naruto back simply as Kubikuribocho hits his shield and attempts to lop of Naruto's head. Naruto narrowly dodges, sweat pouring down his brow as he snarls and will increase his assaults even greater. His opponent, now absolutely at the protective simplest, weathered the strong attacks for a minute more earlier than one broke through his guard and stuck him deeply within the aspect. After that, it virtually become a depend of Naruto disposing of him. Odin strikes the butt of his spear yet again at the floor and all the useless upward push-up, and that they appear again within the long corridor, with tables complete of meals and mead. Uzumaki Naruto, you have come into our home and pitted yourself in opposition to the greatest souls in Valhalla, with not anything more than your bodily energy and ability. The gods of the Aesir and Vanir stand in admiration of your accomplishments, and welcome you as in case you are one people. You have got become Freya's champion this month. Please approach our table, Odin exclaims. Naruto, worn out, included in blood, and his outfit ruined, methods the table of the gods with a large smile on his face. His eyes widen as he sees the splendor of Freya, as he can correctly say that she is the most lovely girl he has ever seen. Status at 5 feet 7 inches with long silver hair, purple eyes, in one of the most provocative clothing he has ever visible. A black dress-like aspect with a crimson trim that exposes maximum of her stomach and breasts. Her body is flawlessly proportioned with a chest that is DD cup or slightly large, and he can inform with each step she takes that it's far firm too. If Naruto became every other guy, he might have a nosebleed, much like nearly all of the guys around him do. But Naruto, the author of the harem jutsu and student of the mythical exceptional pervert himself, has emerged as inoculated to gaining a nosebleed from looking at a woman. Hell, he considers it impossible for him to benefit a nosebleed, period. Vala watches on, herself feeling attracted to Freya. She shakes her head to dispel the thought, however it does not seem to be working. It's her aura hatchling. Everyone caught up in it will instantly feel an attraction toward her, regardless of their preferences. It's why most love goddesses, while not super powerful, can definitely be dangerous. It seems she is trying to charm your sensei, Albion tells her. Vala's eyes widen as she realizes that this goddess is making an attempt to seduce her sensei. Vala seems to Sif, who has her very own nosebleed of golden ichor, as she watches the curiously. She looks round as actually every unmarried god, goddess, and warrior has a nosebleed except Naruto. Even she has one, and he or she is 13. Naruto stops proper in the front of Freya, wherein her air of secrecy is at its strongest, and still does not have a nosebleed. Freya takes a napkin that she materializes in her hand and wipes the blood off Naruto's face. She then pulls Naruto's head down in order that it is immediately looking into her bosom and gives him a kiss on the forehead, while she shall him returned up. Her smile receives even wider as she sees that he has nonetheless yet to gain a nosebleed. Meanwhile, Naruto is internally freaking out. I can now not be like Erosenin and get a nosebleed. I am no longer a pervert. I can do that. She almost had me there. But I survived. My blood is staying in my body, thank you very much. He yells in his head as Kurama laughs loudly. If it changed into feasible for him to have a nosebleed, he might have, package, bang her. She is a literal goddess of splendor, love, lust and warfare. Cannot top that. Isn't always this why you practiced on the brothels that your sensei took you to? Kurama seriously says. This has nothing to do with him trying to see her naked. None in any respect. Shut up, you silly fox. She is married. To Odin, no, much less. Naruto yells at him as he appears at the goddess. He receives a cold shiver up his backbone as he looks into her eyes and sees lust with a tint of a choice to interrupt him. My, aren't you an interesting one? Freya says softly, her voice somewhat curious with a heavy dose of lust. She leans in next to his ear and whispers, perhaps you would love to have a terrific time with me? Naruto sniffles, no longer letting the blood that almost ran out of his nostril display as he looks curiously at her, and then his gaze shifts to Odin, who was standing there looking. Freya, recognizing where his gaze went, whispers, oh, don't worry, approximately that vintage guy. We can be technically married, but neither people has been that way with every different for hundreds of years. He is taking fans, I take enthusiasts, and we maintain onward. She pulls away, her cause recognized clean for essentially all to see that she wishes this warrior in the front of her. Thank you for the spectacular war, Uzumaki Naruto, she states loudly, including a sensual tone to his call. All the warriors examine him in jealous and in appreciate for gaining the eye of the goddess of splendor. Interestingly, the gods and goddesses' appearance on in pity. Why do you all observe sensei like that? Vala questions. Because expensive. Freya's preferred pastime is to interrupt young guys and then discard them like the day gone by's trash. Shaf says sadly, as a love goddess, she will recognize the desire of Freya, however strives to not do this type of factor to her personal enthusiasts. Yeah, I'm sorry youngster, however your sensei is screwed. Freya is insatiable. She will hound after him till she takes the entirety, after which leaves an empty husk of a man. It is why no male god could be along with her anymore. It can take them many years to recover from it. Handiest Odin has been able to withstand, and that is because of his power, and his other wife Frigg. They also have not lain together in almost 600 years. Honor says, allow the banquet begin. Odin announces within a first-rate clamor erupts. Not one of the warriors keep grudges from the conflict, as each fought with their absolute high quality. With interest is not on Freya and Naruto. The previous drags the latter away through his hand. Vali, heeding the words of the gods and goddesses, runs after them. She rushes into door at the back of the table of the gods and grabs Naruto's hand just as he become approximately to go into a bedroom with Freya. The goddess seems down on the little lady with an amused smile on her face. Sensei, Vala pleads, something she hasn't once done earlier then, making her domestic dog eyes no jutsu a crucial hit. Please come lower back to the birthday celebration with me. You need to be hungry after the conflict, right? Mainly because you didn't take your weights off. Freya is slightly surprised that he was carrying weights during that whole performance. However, that handiest makes her want him more. He is clearly a man amongst guys. She merits to have him all to herself. Vala-kun proper? I think Naruto might lots rather take a bath and visit bed with me, right Naruto-kun? I suggest. It is how every warrior have to be treated after this type of long-fought conflict, she says with a lustful smile. Naruto is simply torn proper now between the two, and Kurama screaming in his head too. Fuck, the goddess isn't always helping. On one facet, he genuinely wants to have intercourse with Freya. It would rank right up there in his best reviews ever, like being dealt with like a hero after pain and defeating Kaguya. On the alternative facet, is his apprentice begging, which she in no way does, at the same time as the use of the doggy eyes no jutsu that no man can face up to. Genuinely, he is screwed. Well, I need to take a shower regardless. I don't sense smooth in any way, he states with Freya's grin getting wider. I heard a rumor that they may be going to be serving ramen quickly, Vali yells, and Naruto stands directly like he has been struck by a lightning bolt. I guess I'm able to take a short bathe and consume. Resting can continually come after, he states as he opens the door to the room and runs to the bathe. Thank Odin-sama that the toilets are cutting edge. Freya appears a bit misplaced as the person she become approximately to lay with ditched her for ramen of all matters. She seems down and sees the little girl with a grin on her face, and she glares at her. He will be mine, she states with self-assurance. I'm not letting you switch him into an empty husk of a person. He's my sensei, and that is the manner he'll always be, Vala says as she stomps her foot and glares on the goddess. Properly luck with that little female. Your lie will most effective paintings, as soon as she states as she walks lower back towards the dinner party. Generally, she might not stick around, but with a prize like this she has to. A couple minutes later Naruto walks out, wearing a in shape without a tie, similar to he arrived at Asgard in. What? He failed to want to come back underdressed. Well, let's go consume some ramen, Naruto says excitedly, rejuvenated from his shower. Whilst he walks back out to the desk of the gods, lots of them are searching at him in surprise. He just assumes it's due to the fact he was so superb in the fight. Hi there, Sif and Shaf. Thank you for looking after Vala while I was scuffling with, Naruto says with a smile. Each are searching at him with curious gazes. Naruto-kun, we were not waiting for you again for some time. What changed? Shafu questions. Many gods and goddesses listen in, curious as to why he didn't sleep with Freya right then. Nicely, I heard there has been going to be ramen, he says with a vibrant smile. So, wherein is it? When will or not it's prepared? He questions, getting a gleam on insanity and hunger in his eye. Absolutely everyone that heard him is dumbfounded that he turned down Freya for ramen. It might be her first rejection ever. That is certainly taking place in Nordic history. Freya, meanwhile, is ingesting a pitcher of wine, acting calm, though you may tell with the aid of the indentations of her golden chalice that she is angry. If ramen is coming, it might not be here for some time, Naruto Sif informs him. Naruto pouts at that as he is going to must watch for his ramen. Honor comes as much as him and gives him a mug of mead. Come, my pal. Let us rejoice as you retell tales of your conflict proper now for all and sundry to hear, he says, pulling him away. Numerous of the goddesses watch him with lust, none more so than Freya. I just have to maintain Freya far from him. I'm able to do it, Vala repeats in her head. The shortage of sleep is going to catch up with her ultimately. And that is whilst Freya is going to strike, hatchling. It's simple, you merely have to have him get with another before Freya gets to him. Albion informs her and Vala nods her head in settlement. It's genius. She seems at once to her left to where Shafna's status, and he or she sees the lust in her eyes as properly. On foot up to her, Vala says, howdy Shafn. Why do not you go speak to him? Me? She questions with a blush on her face. I do not assume that could be a very good concept. I ought to draw Freya's ire. She can be the goddess of lust, beauty, love, and warfare. However, she is also one of the maximum powerful gods in all of Norse mythology. Vala return to Naruto, who went down with honor to the tables of the warriors and is ingesting, singing, and recounting with the relaxation of them. It seems he is very famous with the soldiers, as they now recognize him for preventing in opposition to them and winning, in reality. Numerous of the beautiful female warriors are reputedly snuggling up to Naruto. She glances over at Freya, who still appears assured as she stares down her prey, and so, my watch begins. Vala thinks with a sigh. It has been hours. How many Vala doesn't recognize of her simply watching her sensei? She has conversed with Sif and Shafn, both of whom she definitely likes. However, she hasn't as soon as dropped her shield. She will experience her eyes drooping even though. So she needs something to show up fast, or she can opt to take subjects into her very own fingers. Her sensei is in the center of recounting a tale about the battle he fought in. The soldiers enthralled. Two ladies, each extremely stunning via mortal and supernatural requirements, are clinging to his sides. She will tell that he's under the influence of alcohol, as are the relaxation of them. Along with his speech now not being absolutely coherent, it appears the fox is planning something as properly. A pair minutes later, the two ladies whisper something in Naruto's ear, who eagerly nods, and they all stand up collectively. A number of the warriors round him begin shouting out encouragement and reward, inflicting him to blush and grin whilst the girl warriors chortle. They each preserve onto an arm as they drag him toward the doors of the bedrooms. Vala breathes a sigh of remedy because it seems her sensei is within the clean from Freya. I am going to get some relaxation now, she tells the two goddesses, every nodding their head, in her tiredness. She absolutely misses Freya's grin of victory. XXX Freya watches as her prey goes lower back with two beautiful girls. Any man could agree that they could be lucky to put with certainly one of them, let alone two, yet if they are in comparison to her, they seem like trash that no person could contact with a 10-foot pole. They did, however, get that traumatic little thorn out of her side, and in order that they should be commended for that, said thorn simply went to sleep, questioning that her beloved sensei is safe from her. Freya rolls her eyes at any such naive manner of questioning. Naruto going returned with two ladies weigh nothing to her. She will be able to truly move back, kick them out of the room, and lay with him. She can assist it if he falls entirely in love together with her afterwards and absolutely forgets approximately his scholar. It topics now not to her. He is a simple plaything to bypass the time. All men are. She gets up from the desk and walks back to the bedrooms, with several of her fellow gods eyeing her. She cares not for what they assume. She is extra effective than nearly all of them and has laid with most of them too, many inside the remote past. None were memorable. She opens the door to the room where she senses the three of them, with each lady's already completely bare, making out with him as he fondles them. She can't blame them. She lusts after him too after all. They all pause as they see her walk in with a grin on her face. You get out, she says with authority. The two women think about their alternatives for a second. Earlier than extracting themselves from Naruto, grabbing their garments, and walking out of the room, Freya shuts the door and adds a powerful barrier to it, as a way to make certain they are not interrupted and that he can't depart before she has had her fill. Freya gains a gleam in her eye as she stares down Naruto, her eyes roaming his flawlessly muscled body. She licks her lips as she flares her powers a bit, and her garments disappear in a snap of her arms. Under the influence of alcohol, Naruto smiles perversely at the goddess, though no blood leaves his nose. As his eyes roam her body, Freya walks over to him with a sway in her hips, and lies down without delay on top of him. I hope you are ready now, are you, Takun, she says seductively as she strains a finger over his chest. Naruto responds through planting his lips to her as they begin hours of debauchery collectively. Interior Naruto. Kurama chuckles as it all went according to his plan. Vala wakes up slowly. The nice and cozy include of the first sheets of slain animals try to pull her back to joyful land of dreams. She had an exceptional dream, wherein she ultimately beat her sensei in taijutsu and he gave her a proud smile. She drags herself out of bed, her garments ruffled from being slept in. She walks into the toilet and takes a protracted shower to wake herself up, using her magic to dry and clothe herself. She steps out of the room searching like she did after they entered through the gates of Valhalla. That appears like for all time ago. I just want to move again to the wooded area and teach with sensei, she admits to herself. She surely would not care for all this partying and socializing. She likes seeing new places. But Freya is ruining this journey for her. She does not want to worry about her sensei leaving her. She doesn't want to sense the ache of loneliness once more, even at domestic with her mom, who attempted to assist her however in no way stood up to her father. She felt by myself. She opens the door lower back to the dinner party, seeing it going on in full swing. If anything, it has gotten even rowdier. She sees Odin grope a Valkyrie, something that doesn't marvel her in any respect. What is greater, his spouse Frigg is sitting next to him and would not look disturbed in any respect. She seems around for Naruto, however would not spot him. She frowns as it has clearly been some time. Perhaps he's napping as nicely? It would make feel. If she fought that battle she might have desired to sleep for every week. She spots Sif, Shafn, and Honer, all searching at her with a few sympathy and pity. Pressured, she walks up to them. Seeing Honer chug his entire glass of mead and sigh later on, she starts to worry as something need to be wrong. I'm sorry, toddler. None of us want to get on her terrible facet, Honer says with sorrow lacing his voice. She furrows her forehead, pressured for a moment. Earlier than her eyes widen in panic, and she looks around for Freya. Her scholars frantically test everywhere, but the goddess of beauty is nowhere to be visible. However, Sensei went lower back with warriors. I saw them, she says desperately, denying the fact in the front of her. Shafn bends down and hugs the child. Sweetie, Freya would not care approximately that, when you went to bed, she in reality went back there and kicked them out. They have been lower back there together for 16 hours, Shafn says softly, tears properly up in Vala's eyes. Sensei might be okay, Vala says with resolutely. She has to agree with you will be. She desires him to preserve being her sensei. She would not want to be on my own once more, maybe toddler. Who is aware of? Shafn says comfortingly as she runs her fingers through Vala's hair. But it would not sound like she in reality believes her phrases. They carry her over to a table and try and cheer her up. To no avail. She is grateful. However, she doesn't need to hear something they've to mention. All she needs is to move domestic together with her sensei. Home? I guess I certainly do. Don't forget it, my home, Vala thinks regrettably as she sips on a few water. Even Albion doesn't give her any encouraging words. Vala seems out at all of the warriors on the feast, and her eyebrows improve, and her mouth opens slightly in shock as she sees numerous humans having sex at the middle of the tables. To the loud cheers of the others, our warriors have constantly been very open with their goals and manner of thinking. It is much special than the way of the sector now, Sif says beside her. I in reality don't know plenty approximately the world, Vala says as she turns to Sif, who seems on the show with a bit of a blush. Properly, with the spread of the Christianity/Jewish/Muslim faction among the sexual liberties observed in different societies became extinguished. Their God and angels agree with having sex have to simplest appear in loving married couples, and the church ruthlessly squashed another way of questioning. Shafn informs her. No longer to say how they ruthlessly reduced down our followers, burned our shrines, and compelled their manner of life on them, Sif says with a few anger. Not one of the factions hostile because the biblical God is extremely strong, more so than nearly any of the alternative gods, and his angels are not any comic story both. We didn't make alliances with the fallen and Satan factions both, as additionally they failed to oppose what the church changed into doing. More territory for them operate in. Honer adds in, sure, my husband clearly wanted to visit warfare with them, but Odin forbade it. It become an annoying time, Sif says. It's why we don't brazenly talk to different factions. Shafn finishes. Vala is fascinated by what they may be telling her, so much so that she forgets approximately her sensei for a piece. She seems returned on the warriors within the warmness of ardor, and a moderate blush creeps onto her face. The door behind the desk of the gods opens, and all of the gods and goddesses are shocked at what they are seeing. Naruto looking worn out, but with a massive smile on his face and a confident swagger in his step. Sensei, Vala screams as she runs towards him and hugs him with tears going for walks down her face. Naruto, slightly confused, asks what's wrong, Vala-chan. Thought which you may have left me, she says with sobs. Naruto ruffles her hair and says you don't need to worry about that, my apprentice. I promise to defend you and not leave you by myself, proper? She nods her head, which is still buried into his belly. Naruto looks up and still sees the greatly surprised faces on the group. He picks up whispers of conversation. Impossible. His strength of will. How lots electricity. Severe murmurings of the equal component come from all of them, and a few of the women take a look at him with lust in their eyes. Actually, it reminds him of whilst he won fangirls and is slightly freaking him out. Naruto walks over to the goddesses he met earlier then, with Vala now not letting go of his arm. He thinks her response is a touch intense. I imply he simplest left for a piece. It isn't always like he disappeared for weeks. As he tactics, he sees Honor searching at him in a bit of awe, Schaffen sporting a major blush, and Sif just has a amazed look on her face. So, absolutely everyone want to tell me what that is all approximately? He questions with a laugh. Significantly, a number of the gazes are starting to bizarre him out. You slept with Freya. Honor says. Vala grips him tougher after she hears that. So? Naruto questions with a frown. Dude, you slept with Freya? He simply says louder, Naruto-kun. Schaffen says, drawing his attention in the direction of her, and her face turns redder. Snoozing with Freya almost constantly, manner which you turn out to be completely charmed by her. It's like her air of secrecy. Most effective 100x greater powerful. You essentially come to be her slave/plaything that cares for not anything else until she tires of you, and it takes decades so one can get over it. It's why Vala idea you were going to go away her. It takes a person of vast strength of mind and strength to now not fall beneath her charms, or in the event that they do, to drag themselves out. Even Odin, the person who become capable of understand the runes of the fates through sheer self-discipline, was now not capable of completely pull himself out for some time. Naruto is stunned by means of the information. Thinking again on it, he actually misplaced himself to lust for a bit. But this is just ordinary all-through sex with someone that stunning, right? Who wouldn't want to ravish her? You, furthermore, may outlasted her. Honor says in awe, yeah, Naruto says, embarrassed, approximately talking about the sex he simply had. That has never befell, Sif informs him. Naruto grins a chunk when listening to that. One component he can actually take delight in is that nobody has the stamina to healthy him. Shadow clone jutsu for the win. 2. Us gods, this is probably the maximum memorable component that has passed off in the past century, Schaffen says as she brushes her frame up in opposition to Naruto. Now not an unmarried guy inside the 9 realms has accomplished that. And trust me, nearly all have attempted. Naruto blanches a piece as that is a lot of fellows. Yes, he attempts now not to choose human beings. However, it is tough not to while you pay attention something like that. Nevertheless, he can take pleasure in his accomplishment, sensei. Allows cross-domestic Vala says as she pulls her hand and him far away from Schaffen. A whole lot to his displeasure. He does like a lovely woman rubbing up against him. Much like any man. He is definitely no longer a pervert. But Vala-chan, do not you need to see more of the Asgard and the other realms? He questions. Vala deadpans. Really, sensei? No. I need to educate in the woodland. Simply the two folks find it irresistible has been, well. Naruto trails off. Please. Sensei, Vala says, the use of her doggy eye no jutsu again, instantly destroying his resistance. Very well, okay. Allows go at least say goodbye to Arogigi earlier than we depart, Naruto says with a nod. Getting a grin from Vala. You will eventually come again to look us, right, Naruto-kun? Schaffen asks with a pout. Of path, I can. Naruto promises immediately. He actually does want to come back and visit all of the geographical regions and perhaps get in some other conflict. He certainly found out a lot. So long, he says with a small wave as Vala is already dragging him toward Odin on the way to get lower back home. She does not need her sensei to be everywhere near Freya anymore. The gods chortle as they see him dragged away. Yo, Arogigi. Naruto calls out, getting Odin's attention, and the Valkyrie he's harassing takes that second to run away. Ah, Naruto, my boy, I'm truly surprised to peer you right here. Concept you had been a goner, Odin says with a hearty giggle. Naruto blushes a piece in embarrassment. Yeah, sorry about that, Arogigi. Naruto says, hoping the All-Father isn't always mad, approximately him banging his spouse. Odin waves his worries away. It's miles a wedding in name, simplest now. Not anything to be worried, approximately. What do you observe of Valhalla? He asks. It is superb. Clearly an area I would need to go if I died, Naruto says honestly. He could absolutely say this would be some shinobi's dream afterlife. Like Zabuza, I'm happy you think so. What do you suspect, little Lucifer? It's hard, Vala truly says. Ha 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 ha, for a young lady like you together with her sensei here, I wager it would be. Odin chuckles. Besides, Arogigi, thanks for letting us see this place. But Vala-chan desires to go home now. I promise to come back and visit. Naruto guarantees, and Odin just nods his head. Sure, I can imagine why she wants to go away. And in case you do, make sure to carry the next reproduction of Ika Ika, Odin says with a perverted grin. Naruto rolls his eyes as his magic circle turns on under the two, transporting them away. Naruto and Vala appear within the center in their residence, and Vali offers him a decent hug. Naruto, chuckling, returns it and says, "The next day we are starting your schooling once again." Vala looks up at her sensei, a shiny smile on her face. Hi. A pair hours later, just before it's time for the baths, Freya walks again to the desk of the gods. All of them have a look at her with confusion, shock, and intrigue as they want to realize what passed off in the back of closed doors with Uzumaki Naruto, wearing her apparel from before, though her hair is tumbled and out of place as if she hasn't afflicted to restore herself up after having intercourse. She marches right up to Odin with dedication plastered on her face and a gleam in her eye. She flares her strength, getting absolutely everyone to instantly end up quiet, and she turns to face Odin, who has a small look of bewilderment on his face. "Odin, I need a divorce."